The wait is over. It is time to finish my cheap bike build off. I'm very late to the game this year. Last year I felt like I was pretty on top of it and I released a few videos, it was great. This year I posted my reveal video, everybody was like, that's great, and then I just disappeared from that. And I did some other projects and some bits and pieces, but I never completed this one. For people that don't know, which I'm sure you all do know by now, the cheap bike build off was all put together by Max, the mullet mechanic, and essentially the challenge is to build a bike as cheap as you possibly can within a budget of about $150, which is about £120. Last year when I did this, I basically went through my parts bin and bought a few pieces, and it was really tough because I basically just went from a bare frame and kind of went up from there. This year I got particularly lucky. I jokingly put on my Instagram story, does anybody want to come pick this bike up from me, which I found on Facebook Marketplace. It was the GT Timberline, and it was £30 for a complete bike. I think it was in Oxford, if I remember rightly, and I put it on my story, and one of my new favourite friends, Jake, went and picked it up for me and dropped it off in London. He's actually meeting me again this week to drop off another new frame, so that's very exciting. So anyway, I had this £30 bike. I was winning already. Essentially all I had to do really is clean it, and it was pretty much banging already. I just had to do a few cool things to it, and then I just didn't finish it. The biggest reason was the fact that I was trying to be clever and order a load of parts online from Bike In, which I said was in the Netherlands. I was wrong, it was in Spain. Thank you for all commenting in the comments and let me know. And it took weeks for the stuff to arrive. I ended up not using nearly any of those parts because when they did arrive, I didn't like them so much, but that's neither here or there. The point is, it just never got completed. Today's the day that we get on with it, and we finish the bike off. Now, we're going to be building it a little bit differently. A few of you mentioned, now that it's over, why don't you just do it like one of your normal builds? And you're probably right, but I kind of felt like it would have been, I would have been cheating myself if I didn't continue the cheap bike build off and do it properly, so we're going to do it properly. So for now, let's get on with the build. Now, I'll tell you what, it is nice to be back in the garden building. I've done a lot of builds over at Stayer recently because of the rain and the winter and the cold, but now it's getting a little bit warm. We're back in the garden, which makes me the backyard mechanic again, which is probably the earliest plug to one of my stickers I've ever done. This is the all new backyard mechanic sticker. I'm very excited about this one. A lot of you have bought them already, but if you're interested, you can pick it up at saveallbikes.com. Now, it's actually been ages since I've looked at the rules for the cheap bike build off, and I'm pretty sure I remember all of them, but it will be quite interesting to see how quickly I forget the rules and mess something up. So the BB in the bike was still pretty decent, so I'm leaving it in there, and the crank that I wanted to use still hasn't arrived, so I'm going to put this one on here instead, which is, I think it's like an Amazon special, which technically is against the rules, I think. Yeah, I've already messed it up, haven't I? Look, I'm going to give myself a pass on this one. This crank and chainring has been sat in the shed for a very long time. It came on a donor bike at some point, I imagine, and it kind of looks cool, so I'm putting it on. So these are from my friend Pierre. He sent me these, but I will put the price in the budget, which is £6. These are little 3D printed end caps. He makes them in a couple of different colours, and he's going to be releasing a new colour soon. But essentially, it comes with the two little end caps, or the bolt caps, or crank bolt caps, the caps, and the little cool tool that you then use to twist them in with, which I think is super smart. But it's got a little smiley face on it. But they're really, really cool. I'm going to put a link to his website down below. I know he's got some available at the moment, but he is also about to release a new colour. So if there's none available when you get there, there will be some soon. They do work better on the more kind of the normal bolt that you'd put on your cranks. These ones with the Allen key come out a little bit further, but I'm going to switch them over basically. Do you know what I mean? The little ones that are like an actual nut instead of an Allen key. You know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, these are really cool. There's a link in the description. The wheels that the bike came on, and even the cassette, to be fair, arguably, are running nice and smooth. And the tyres, as much as they are knobbly and not the best for kind of riding around the city, they are holding air really well, and they look sick, so they're staying on the bike. So nothing to add to the budget. As a lot of you probably know, the channel is supported by Juice Lubes, so trying to work out budget with this sort of stuff. I don't think you're meant to include it anyway, but we're talking about pennies that's being used right now. But if you want to save yourself some money, you can with a discount code that is in the description below. There's some fantastic camera work there, Craig, but that is the very crusty stem that the bike came with as well, which I quite like the look of, and it fits nicely, so there. Moving on, we've got the handlebar. The handlebar is the only thing that I actually ended up using from biking. It's only slightly wider, but it's got this kind of little bit of flare and rise in it. It's a bit of a weird handlebar, if I'm really honest. You'll see better when it's all finished and put in the right place, but it kind of like flicks up a little bit, which is surprisingly comfortable. Still not 100% my style, but I think it looks quite good and it is quite comfortable. The brakes are pretty sweet, a little bit of a clean, but the pads and the drop bolts, the pads themselves, this one's not too bad, but on the other ones, they're pretty worn down, so I ordered some more. I wanted to order the same ones just because they fit and they're good. Okay, there you go, you see this one's a bit worse. But they were like £8 each, £6 each. I think it was about 12 quid all in, maybe about £6 each. So they were super expensive really, but yeah, brake pads. The derailleur is a Shimano STX, I believe it was. It is very nice. It's seen better days, but it fits the bike nicely, and we're going to use some friction shifting to get it going again. The actual levers and the shifters were all kind of put in together, so not great. The friction shifter that I'm going to use, it may be Shimano, I don't actually know exactly the model of it, but I got it off Bankrupt Bike Parts for 7 quid, and the levers, these beautiful purple things, these are Tetros. I bought them for like 12 quid a long time ago. I probably would sell them for like a 10 an hour, to be, if I'm really honest. Maybe less, maybe like 6 quid. I think 6 quid is probably fair. The grips I was probably given, I think. I don't remember buying these anywhere. I probably wouldn't sell them for more than 2 quid. Now moving on to cables and wirings, all that stuff. I got this kit from somewhere. It's Jaguar, it's green. Some of you are probably going to say that wasn't the right choice, but I think it looks sick. I don't know what I was doing there, but I was just showing off the colour, I think. But anyway, this was, yeah, £12, I believe, but it's got all the cables in it. Yeah. Now at this point, with a lot of my builds these days, my daughter decided to come and help me. I don't mind when it comes to the retro bikes, because she tends to just grab a wrench and start scratching the frame. But this is a good a time, if ever, to talk about the stickers. I mentioned it once already in this video, but we do have a load of new designs. These are the new ones now. This is the backyard mechanics, the proper crusty. There's always room for one more, N+1. Save a Bike sticker, but also the Second Life Bikes Service Centre with saving spelt wrong. They sold out. They sold out in one day. Ashley bought 10 of them. You're all mental. I love you very much. Thank you very much. If you are keen on picking up some stickers, the new designs are available now, and you can get them at saveoldbikes.com. So the last thing to wire up was the actual shifter onto the derailleur. I had to go a little bit of a weird angle around this bar. I kind of thought about putting friction shift underneath, but instead I kind of went over the top of the bar and round underneath like this. Some of you might hate this, some of you might love it. I don't know. I kind of like it, I think. And then threading it through and attaching it up. It is set up friction, so it pretty much works out of the box, which is always loads of fun. There he goes. And that, my friends, is the end of the cheap bike build off, which leaves us with one thing left to do. We should go and look at it. And there we have it. We have finally done the cheap bike build off. Should have done it ages ago. There's not a lot of reasons I didn't. Whatever. We've done it now. We're moving on. But the important question is, and I'm sure all you're wondering, is how much exactly did it cost me? So, I have it all written down in chicken scratches. But the frame itself cost me £30. The crank and the chainring I'm putting down as £15. I think it would have probably cost a tiny bit more of that brand new, but it's well old now. The crank caps from Pierre, they would be £6. The handlebar cost me a tenner. Brake pads were £12. Shifter was £7. The brake levers, I'm going to say £6. The cable pack was about £12. The pedals, I forgot to mention the pedals. The pedals were DMR pedals. I've had them for a very, very long time. I think they're probably about 20, 25 quid new. As you can see, these are pretty crusty, so I'm going to say they're a tenner because they work perfectly. And I did add some bottles and bottle cages, which, believe it or not, I got from Bankrupt Bike Parts for £3 each, I think. Or was it £6 and it was like buy one get one free, something like that. They cost about £6. So if my maths is correct, that cost £114. I've just realised the grips, which takes it up to like £118. We were like £2 or £3 off a budget. That's pretty good. Now, if I'm honest with you, I found it pretty easy this year. Not the time frame. Failed that miserably, but the key element to it, and I've mentioned this in the last video and I even mentioned it last year when I was building the other one, the cheapest way to do any of this sort of stuff is find a complete bike. That ain't that easy, especially if it's anything with like tasty components. Like this was pretty decent. The frame, the brakes, the group set was really good. The crank was pretty crappy, but everything else was fine. Like the pedals rubbish. The handlebar was fine, the grip's rubbish. Like I didn't have to do a lot to this to make it nice, and it rides nice now. But it's not just about kind of like, in my opinion anyway, just like restoring and making it as best as possible. It's about having a lot of fun on a budget. You don't need loads of money to make a cool bike work. And that's the whole point of it, right? But for me, the cheap bike build off is a good way of resetting my year. I think throughout the year, I get a little bit more spenny and a little bit crazy with the type of builds I'm doing. The last handful of builds I did last year were a little bit crazy. I was doing mini velos and brand new bikes and all sorts of stuff. This is kind of like a nice reset. I know it's now March, but like when I started this, it was a nice reset, and it's time to get back into some crusty bikes. So much so, I smashed out another one this week that you'll have to wait until next week because I want to do some tweaks to it. But it looks like this. Did you catch it? Did you catch it? So that brings us to the end of another video. If you enjoyed this type of content, we make bike related content every single week, sometimes a couple of videos if you're really lucky. we definitely have another build coming next weekend, but I also have a couple of builds that I'm going to probably drop, or a couple of videos I'm going to drop it during the week. I want to do an itty bitty update. I've finished that, and it's been a bit of a different one than my other builds because it's my wife's bike, so she needed to ride it to tell me what she liked and didn't like, so I've been changing bits as she goes. So it's taken a little bit longer, but that is now kind of tip top and all good, so I should update you with that. I'm also working on my neutrino as well at the moment, and some frame bags for some bags. So there's lots going on, so it's a great time to subscribe, and you can do that by hitting that button right there. It's absolutely free and it helps me out a bunch, so please do subscribe to the channel. And if you cannot wait until the next video, that one there is a particularly good one.